So the Word of God says, faith comes by hearing, and hearing the Word of God. So if we're not hearing the Word of God, what's happening? We're not growing in faith. We're not growing in faith. So that's what these Mondays are about. These Mondays are about us together spending time in the Word of God, in the Bible, going through it. What does the Bible actually say? On one occasion, Paul told the church, he said, I didn't come to preach anything but Jesus Christ and Him being crucified. I didn't come to use the words of wisdom or try to impress anyone. I just know there's power in this word. And if you hear the message of Jesus Christ, I just know it will change your life. And that's what we want to do. We want to change lives just by hearing His word. So we've been in the book of Mark, and we're in the book of Mark, chapter 9, and Jesus is about to go to a mountain. And we know the story as the mountain of transfiguration, but He takes with Him Peter, James, and John, and He goes up there. Now, I always thought that He was going up there, Jesus was going up there to talk to God, and He just brought along, Peter, James, and John, like, hey, well, you guys like me, and just come with me. I got some things to do. You know how you run some errands, you can come hang with me. But Moses is there, and Elijah is there, and God shows up. But if we read the story, the voice that came from the cloud said, "This is my son whom I love, listen to him." Now that doesn't sound like He's talking to Moses or Elijah. And the voice from the cloud, who is God, is not talking to Jesus because He's talking about Jesus. That means the voice from the cloud is talking to the disciples, the human beings. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Whenever a human comes in contact with a spirit in its state, human being in its state, I'm in my natural state, and a spirit is in its natural state, it's called a theophany. And what we've experienced here in this story is a human coming in contact with God, which is an amazing thing. And oftentimes when we hear stories like this, because of the television of modern day, all of the sci-fi and all of these different things, when we hear this story, we don't take it face value. I mean, these boys heard from a voice from the cloud, and it was God talking to them, explaining to them, "This is my son whom I love. Listen to him." This is why the writer tried to describe it in the best way he could by saying these guys were sore afraid. They were sore afraid. Have you ever been that scared before, where your bones felt like they were locking up? You didn't know what to do, or your bowels, you couldn't control your bowels. That's how frightened you were. Well, that's what they experienced. So what does that mean? Of course, what it means for them is that definitely Jesus is who He says He is, that He was definitely sent by God. I mean, here is a spirit and here is God talking to me. But it also says that God is real, that God is listening to us, God is watching us. What I want to bring note to is the fact that God has revealed Himself to us and made Himself very personal in our lives to let us know that He is with us as we are with His Son. And it is very important for us to follow His Son and His message. That's all I have for you today. We're in the book of Mark, chapter 9. We'll go back over the transfiguration because there's a lot more things I probably want to talk about. But thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you again next week.